How long have you been illustrating for magazines now?
Probably 10, 11 years now.
Right. So for people who don't really understand the Japanese landscape of magazines, like we've got Popeye, I see a lot of Brutus.
Yeah.
There's Tarzan. For someone who's not initiated, who are the big players here and who do they cater for?
All cater to different demographics, depending on the magazine. But like Popeye is, 18 to 35 generally. Brutus magazine is 35 to 50 onwards. Tarzan magazine, the print form is geared more towards like working career men and women, whereas a magazine like Un is more women's focused, but the demographics kind of trick out with this one. I think it's like more people in their late 20s. Then you got like this is a different publisher again, Tosha, but this is like a mountain hiking magazine.
Is there a Japanese sensibility, like a populist Japanese like aesthetic sensibility when it comes to illustrations and art?
Collage is a really useful technique that people use. Often, like classic example is like movie posters in Japan compared to Western movie posters. A Western movie poster will often just have like a singular like sort of key visual, whereas a Japanese poster will often have a lot of heads on it or all the different actors and like maybe a description of the story and like a lot more details going on. And that's often because of the way people interact with content. A Japanese reader will tend to scan the whole page before kind of making a selection. Another example of that might be like yahoo.com versus yahoo.co.jp. Like they're completely different kinds of appearances. And that's purely to do with the way Westerners versus a Japanese readership will interact with information. Westerners or an American audience for yahoo.com will are quite happy to click through. They're happy for not all the information to be presented up front. They're happy to click through, make mistakes, just touch things on an app and see what works or not through trial and error. Whereas in a Japanese audience will tend not to want to make mistakes. So they want all the options listed before interacting with a piece of information. A really simple one, magazine cover. This is a issue about individuals sort of working in Tokyo who have their own style. And so sort of representing all these people that were interviewed. So instead of just drawing one person and making them, the man of Popeye or something, we did this collage approach to sort of represent everyone. The colors would stand out to people on the newsstands. And then, honestly, a readership will sort of scan everything before then opening up the page. Whereas I would say, if it was probably more of a Western magazine, it would just be one person.
Yes.
And that's it.
I don't think I've seen a Western cover like this.
Yeah. So this is like another issue this is when I didn't have a beard. And for Casa Brutus magazine.
Yes.
I went to the Beams Japan store when it had opened in Shinjuku. And just based on what I saw there, I would draw different things. The editors were fine for me to select what I thought was interesting and write about that. And they wanted it to feel like one of my sketchbook drawings, even though it's sort of a collage of different pictures. But it was sort of at first you'd think like, oh, if it's too busy, is someone really going to spend that much time on it? Like, because wouldn't you want people to just sort of be able to, just even by flicking through the book, wouldn't you want them to be able to get the gist of what the article is about?
Yeah, but it's incredibly dense, but I think that's what people love.
Love it, yeah. They like getting into the weeds, man, and like getting in there and reading the notes and stuff.
You mentioned before that magazines in general, the trend has been declining in popularity. But that's not the impression I get, certainly as someone who's lived outside of Japan.
Sure.
Because magazines are not really an entity where I'm from.
Yeah.
It certainly seems very strong as an industry still. Why do you think that is?
I mean, compared to what was before,
Yes.
it's less.
Yes.
But what's still here is still very good.
Yeah.
And in some ways, like
it's a thriving
the best
industry.
like what's the best is also holding out the longest too. There's still always going to be an appreciation for this stuff, and like certainly for magazines and for tastemakers. You'll find this probably a lot in fashion too. That the curators are often as deified as the designers are themselves.
Absolutely.
Because they're taste makers, and Japan was really the first place I'd encountered the culture of selection also being an artistic choice as valid as the creation of the work itself, almost like a DJ or something.
Absolutely,
now.
yeah.
But the concept of a DJ being applied to physical
curate.
things, curate. Yeah, exactly. So in that sense, like magazines still have a point of view, and that's always going to be relevant. I think they are slowly, like they're now transitioning to digital formats too. And Popeye has just released an English version of its Tokyo issue as well. So they are starting to look abroad too, and they're interested in how Western readerships, there's an interest in what is contained in these magazines. And so I think we'll see, a Japanese point of view becoming a bit more influential across the world if they keep looking abroad. But
I suppose like these points of view, like curation, like offering some, being a tastemaker, has translated into Substacks or YouTube accounts.
Sure.
I mean, that has occurred. However, I mean, these are beautiful objects that people need to go to a bookstore and buy physically and get out of their houses and do, rather than just flick up in the case of their homes. And I find that is interesting friction that still exists in a lot of Japanese culture.
Yeah. Well, the magazines themselves tend not to have a lot of subscribers. People tend to buy the issue they want in the konbinis and things like that themselves. In some ways, I think also people love holding on to these objects too, because they kind of like become little capsules of Tokyo at different moments, or Japan at different moments in time too.
And they're very well made.
Yeah. Well, they're made to be semi-permanent, I guess.
And advertising isn't as strong as it is in other Western magazines.
Yeah. Well, in Japan, the advertisers look to the magazines for art direction a lot of time. So one of the reasons why it's important for young artists to get featured in a magazine is because it does lead to exposure to larger projects. So, often, while the budget might not be amazing sometimes with every issue, it does often. I've found that for whatever editorial work I've done, it often leads to 2 or 3 other projects later on where someone has said, "Oh, I saw your work in Popeye," or "I saw your work in another magazine," and then that's why we commissioned you.
Yeah.
It's it's a really big seal of approval. So that's sort of...
It's very prestigious to...
Yeah, prestigious, and people are, in so many aspects they don't want to cause offense, or people are unwilling to stand up for their opinion sometimes. But a magazine, it's in print, it's literally like a statement. So people are really drawn to that. I was really lucky to work on this issue in particular because it was one of my favorite art directors. There's a company called Maeda Design, and I think his vision made my work better, because he really taught me how to apply a Japanese viewpoint to my work. It's sort of almost in an academic way, like taking a big topic and then breaking it down into smaller components. I mean, it's not limited to magazines. Like ukiyo-e artists like Hokusai and stuff were doing this in their manga, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. But I thought it was so ingenious because, I moved here to Tokyo. My Japanese, I could speak a little bit, but I wasn't, and I'm still not a native speaker. But I didn't work in a Japanese company, so I was like, but I want to work with people here, and I want to get along, and I want to find a way to meet people halfway. So, and there's I've now found that there are lots of books about like manners in Japan, and like how to pass a business card, and like what kind of attire you should wear for different formal events and things, or if you're doing a business email, like what kinds of Japanese do you use, and if in this circumstance, what do you say, and that kind of stuff. I had no one to teach me that, so my way of understanding what's going on here would be to draw and to go out and see people and be in different situations, and sort of by being attentive to that and drawing, like I would pick up on things just instinctively. And then, and I then realized, this approach is really applicable to editorial in Japan too. And it was where we could kind of meet each other halfway, because my drawing style was probably more Western influenced, but this idea of taking a really big topic like Tokyo or Japan, or like assimilating, trying to figure out what you're doing, and then breaking it down into like small moments every day until you become really comfortable with it and you've internalized it is really it makes something that can seem overwhelming digestible. Yeah, like, have you seen this guy's work?
Yeah, is it's the slow boy, or is that?
Oh, no. So, Slow Boy, I would say he's influenced by this artist.
It looks so simple. Yeah.
I mean, Slow Boy is just the current equivalent of what this guy was doing back with
I just see a strong influence there. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's new, man. But this book would sort of teach, Western, a Japanese perception of what American fashion or university fashion was, and then, and including things like pop culture and people you should know and that sort of stuff, and objects you might have in your house, and then made it into an illustrated encyclopedia. And this sort of encyclopedia approach is really great. Like when I was a kid, I loved like Encyclopedia Britannica books and all that kind of stuff, because it was like, complicated topics broken down into components. It's like basically any topic you're interested in Japan, like there's a book about it, and probably a manga too, and maybe an anime, and then something to help you learn about it in a way that's fun.
There's incredibly preference for learning things in a deep way.
Yeah.
And generalism is not something that's seen as necessarily aspirational.
Yeah.
What's the attraction of being here as opposed to... Because your work is, I would say, quite universal.
Yeah. It. I think Japan is like, maybe, and you're on this journey and starting it by living here now too. Endlessly fascinating. Like there's so many details and things to learn. I felt like it. Actually, moving to Japan made my world bigger too, in a way that, designers from overseas might not necessarily visit Australia, but they will definitely come to Tokyo. And just by the nature of Tokyo being a village, actually, even though it's a massive city, it's very easy to meet people too. I also think actually being an artist or drawing is a really great way to ground yourself wherever you are. Like, whether I was in the Northcote Shopping Plaza drawing at the bus stop or something, or out in Eltham or something, or Greensboro drawing, at a shopping centre, like drawing makes you really present and makes you focus on what's going on around you. And certainly, I've lived here a long time now, but there's always details that I'm discovering through drawing as well, and that's what keeps me interested, and also making more friends, and your life sort of just moves here naturally too. Like I have my family and friends in Australia too, but I don't. People often used to ask me when I was going back, and I like to go to Australia. I don't see it as a step backwards or anything like that to visit or to go there. But it just felt like at this stage of my life, like there's, even though Australia is so close to Japan, I think we know relatively pretty little about it. I think people are more aware of what Japan's like now, but there's so much Japan has to teach about, to the rest of the world, and not in like, because of, a cultural status kind of reason, but just it has a lot to contribute.
A different perspective.
Yeah, a different perspective for sure. Yeah.